Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. 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 You still remember that theme song? Yeah. Who composed that, by the way? The Last Starfighter, 1984, 40th anniversary. So we would have done this on 713 Day, but that was a very brutal, harsh day in our lives here in Houston, Texas. It was coming off of the Hurricane Beryl, which had taken out the power and the electricity. No electricity, no air conditioning, sweltering temperatures going up to 95 with no AC, no power, no way to keep cool. And by the 6th day on July 13th, which is supposed to be a celebratory day, 713 is supposed to be a joyous day in Houston, Texas, because 713 is a famous original area code of Houston. So it's supposed to be a celebratory type environment. But there was no celebrations really that day unless you were just getting drunk because you were sad. Okay. So I was in, I had originally planned to do a 40th anniversary of the Last Starfighter. Fantastic film. So we'll go to the International Movie Database, the IMDb, to get more detailed information about it. That's not just based off nostalgic childhood memories that I have. Although I watched the movie quite a bit growing up, much like Flight of the Navigator and other science fiction fantasy films from the 1980s. So the best thing about the 1980s, besides, happiness and home ownership and sexual and financial gratification and economic gratification, besides the strength of the dollar and other such perks of living in such a time period, living in such a happy, rebound, joyous decade, which was different from the dark, high inflation, the cynical 1970s, a very optimistic, glowing time in America, I would say. But I did see that one of the best things about the 1980s is that they made so many science fiction fantasy films that it took, even in the 1990s, I found stuff like Explorers, stuff that I didn't even watch in the 1980s. It was impossible. It's impossible maybe in any decade to watch everything that's produced. And sometimes I really particularly enjoyed going back and looking for lost gems and looking for, cult classics and stuff like that. But it wasn't like I was 10 or 11 or 12 or even 20 or 30 by the time I saw The Last Starfighter. I'd been watching it ever since, I was like in kindergarten or something. So it was not unbeknownst to to science fiction space enthusiasts, science fiction fantasy fans at the time. So it was a big deal. I guess I wonder how much it made at the box office. Yeah, came out July 13th, 1984. Stiff competition that year. I remember going to a drive-in, around 1985 or 1986. And they had a lot of movies from 1984. They had like Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, Terminator. They had Splash with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah. There was a whole bunch of like really great movies in 1984 coming out. So a lot of, Gremlins, Joe Dante. There was a whole lot of great stuff coming out that year. Fantastic. And so The Last Starfighter was just one of those mini movies, fantastic films that were coming out that year. And so let me see the Last Starfighter box office. Yeah. So do that. That's one of those high school things. The typing. I can type really fast because of the high school class. Who knows? It may become an obsolete skill. As AI and AGI and voice controlled computer systems become more dominant, perhaps, in society. But I think there's something really to be said about being able to uh, work a keyboard. So I think, will it become as obsolete as in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, where Scotty looks at the keyboard and he's like, keyboard, that's ancient, you know? And he tries to talk, gets in the gets in the mouse and he goes, computer, hello, computer. Okay, maybe that skill will not become that obsolete, perhaps, because, well, what happens if the power goes out, or what happens if China attacks America and knocks out the power grid with electromagnetic pulse? I mean, you would still have to have knowledge of old technologies to, if you put your entire system reliant on advanced technology, then that will also become the system's vulnerability, is its over reliance on advanced technology. So that's the trade-off, and it's a really consequential one, isn't it? All right, so The Last Starfighter 1984 grossed 28 million in the United States and Canada, worldwide for a total of 29 million. The film's opening weekend, those countries brought in $6 million. Okay, despite facing strong competition at the box office, because there was a heavy competition in that 1984. That was an Olympic year, you know, the 1984 Olympics. It was, yeah, and there was tons of Hollywood, there was tons of great films coming out. So Last Starfighter was considered a moderate success given its budget of 15 million. The film is still fondly remembered by many for its spirit and heart. That's not a bad, that's the AI, that's the Google Alphabet AI overview. They can compose sentences that seem to, oh, I see what it's doing. The AI, it's taking people's thoughts and feelings and it's translating it into its algorithm. So, all right, I can see it's seeming like it's human by mimicking human emotions and human feelings. I see. So that's kind of interesting, but looks like an AI writer didn't write what I just quoted. That was AI overview from Google Alphabet Corporation. So from a Google search engine. At first, the AI and the simulation human writing seemed to be out of touch and without feeling, but somehow it's incorporating feelings. It's incorporating human spirit and abstract concepts into its algorithms, like consciousness and spirit and heart and emotions and those things. So very, very interesting. But I mean, it's basically an algorithm. They're just taking data from people, what they say, and they're just regurgitating it into a new kind of synthesis. So it's not that artificial intelligence or artificial general intelligence is alive or conscious at this point. It's just mimicking still. So it's just taking all the information, all the data in, and then it's just pumping its new, generative AI conclusion. So, but this isn't a controversial topic. This is not politics or religion or anything that is divisive. This is just a straight up, entertainment review. So, um, yeah, so it was a moderate success in spite of heavy competition at the box office in Hollywood that year. So yeah, there was tons of great movies that year that could have taken away from The Last Starfighter. After the success of Star Wars in 1977 with Master George Lucas and 20th Century Fox, there were a lot of clones that came out, science fiction clones. So there was, for instance, Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers from the 25th century, a lot of clones. There were a lot of science fiction. There were interesting miniseries like V, The Visitors. I really enjoyed that as a kid, where lizard people, Silurian, Silurians take over the Earth. Lizard people take over the Earth, and the human resistance must fight back against the evil aliens. But they come in peace, and they come as like they're going to be saviors and share their technology. But they're really planning to harvest humans and take over the Earth and use it. They're actually planning to dominate Earth and Earthlings, but they infiltrate the government and all levels of power so that they can take over the entire world. And so it's kind of like it's very much like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, except for it's lizard people, and they look like humans and stuff. Lizard people. I love that. I'm surprised when I do talk about lizard people on Google Alphabet, they always do a Wikipedia fact check. I was like, is Google Alphabet Corporation really worried about me talking about lizard people? Do people really take lizard people seriously? Well, does is that such a? Are they really worried about that? Lizard people? That I'm going to discuss lizard aliens infiltrating the Earth. I'm not David Icke, okay? I don't believe in that shit. It's just a fun science fiction, fantasy gaff. It's kind of funny what kind of topics are controlled, or that social media companies and tech companies try to control. Some of them seem ridiculous. Like if I'm talking about Sasquatches or something, or the missing link, and then they put a Wikipedia article about Sasquatch. I'm like, why are they worried I'm talking about Yeti or Sasquatch? Like I don't understand. Like are they do they know something I don't know about Yeti and Sasquatch? If are they? Is Google Alphabet Corporation, is Microsoft Corporation, or these tech Silicon Valley corporations uh, really worried that I'm going to be talking about uh, paranormal topics and extraterrestrial topics? Wow. Yeah. Well, whatever. Oh, they got to be the information gatekeepers because, of course, they have to have control of all information and all people. Of course. But The Last Starfighter, back to that's neither here nor there, is directed by Nick Castle, written by Jonathan R. It's Betul. It's kind of a strange name here. We got writer is Jonathan R. Betul, and stars, of course, Lance Guest, Robert Preston, K.E. Cutter. Let me look at the. Oh, okay. And then we got. Oh, Catherine Mary Stewart as Maggie Gordon. Oh, it's Megs or Mags. And I love how Will Wheaton is like a friend, right? They said that Will Wheaton was in this, really? Or maybe sometimes they mix up the films. I think sometimes they don't always get the the cast correct. They might mix up. They might put Will Wheaton in an '80s movie and he wasn't even in it. Yeah, it says in one cast readout it says that he was in it as a friend. And all right, so this is International Movie Database, The Last Starfighter. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's here's the IMDb synopsis. I've seen the movie a million times, so I don't need to really read it. It's a guy named Alex Rogan. Uh, he's recruited by the Kodan Star League and to go fight Zur. No, I'm sorry. It's Alex Rogan is recruited by the the Starfighters to fight Zur and the Kodan Armada, an evil Imperial force, right? And so, I'm sorry, Alex Rogan from Earth plays a game called the Last Starfighter. It's an arcade, and he doesn't know that the video game is actually a test to see if he could join the Star League to defeat Zur, the Imperial overlord in outer space, um, and defeat the Kodan Armada. All right. So the Star League versus the Kodan Armada, the good guys and the bad guys. And the Star League recruits from all other, they put the video game in all the different worlds so that they know if they have a great starfighter on their hands. But the starfighters are losing to the Kodan Armada, and so they recruit from all over the universe and all the different galaxies and planets. And so, but this synopsis is high schooler Alex Rogan conquers the Starfighter video game, only to find out it was just a test and is transported to another planet. He has been recruited to. Is the planet called something really? It's called like Zarlos or something. Something that's. It's called. It's not called Xandar. It's called like Zarlos. Or so that's some good science fiction shit right there. You're going to Xanadu. Yeah, if you go into a fantasy land, you might as well go to Zardon or some shit. So that's good. I like that. It is called like no, it's called Xylos, isn't it? Xylos or some shit. Some good shit. He has been recruited to join a team of the best starfighters uh, to defend their world from the attack. So, given that there was a major hurricane that knocked out the power, I couldn't do the 40th anniversary special on 713. And then there was a presidential assassination after that. So it was like a hurricane, then there was a presidential assassination, no power. So, and then in the recovery process, I almost forgot about this. And then it was the other day I came to and I said, hey, it's the 40th anniversary of the Last Starfighter. I fucking got distracted with the Hurricane Beryl and the devastation, and then after that, the presidential assassination, and then the Joe Biden retirement, and all the great switcheroony by the Democrat Party, and all these other shenanigans, the Republican National Convention. So I got distracted by quite a lot of things. And plus, our AC was out even after hurricane. After the power came back on, our AC was out for like 2 or 3 days. So yeah, lots and lots of distractions that weren't the Last Starfighter 40th anniversary. But finally, I realized it last night. Hey, I'm 10 days late. I got delayed by the hurricane. I got delayed by air conditioning and political national matters and all this other stuff. And so now I've decided the Last Starfighter, we're going to do something fun for a change. We're not going to do politics, socioeconomics, or hurricanes, anything of the sort. We're going to do the Last Starfighter, and we're going to try to make it as fun as possible. So there's better reviews that have a lot more clips. I don't know if Nostalgia Critic did it. I know Oliver Harper probably did it. There's Max Landis, the son of John Landis, who was famous for Chronicle and some other movies. He kind of went down in the Me Too movement. He kind of looked like, I guess he was trying to be like Tim Burton or something, some kind of like eccentric filmmaker. He did a great, hey, they should remake The Last Starfighter, and he talks about his enthusiasm about the film and everything like that, because he's like a millennial like me. I don't know if he's a little younger than me or if he's about the same age. I don't know if he's like 39 or 40, 41. Got in some trouble. I think, I don't know if he went to jail, but he was like, he does a great video, but he's like, he is kind of slimy. He's like, oh, that girl's so hot. Oh, that girl's so hot. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a little hard to stomach, but no, I mean, Mary, yeah, she was beautiful back in the day. Catherine Mary Stewart, but he kind of went down in the Me Too movement. I don't know how many of these guys who were rich and influential in Hollywood went down or in entertainment or the news, because they slapped a woman's ass back in 1995 or something, or said, hey sugar plums or something. I don't know how many of these people are actual sexual predators or if they're just like got caught in one moment or something like that. So don't really know how many people went down in the Me Too movement, whether it was Bill O'Reilly or Marilyn Manson, that really deserved to go down. Or I guess Max Landis was he caught? He was abusing women, and he was like, he might have been the real predator. Bill Cosby, like, he's spiking the drinks and stuff like that. He's doing the date rape drug, and so yeah. So I haven't heard much from Max Landis in a while. It's a good video on The Last Starfighter, why it should be remade. But there's a whole lot of The Last Starfighter videos, and they may or may not be better than mine. They're probably better. They're probably well produced. They probably have better technology, more clips. But sometimes I prefer more lo-fi, like more old school, like ba ba da 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 da. Instead of playing the song, not just out of fear of like copyright strikes or copyright claims, but um, that could happen as well. So the writers Jonathan R. Betul, Steven Spielberg, they had Ready Player One. He wanted to actually remake this movie, but he was turned down by the writer because the writer has the rights. Jonathan R. Betul. He's probably getting older, and then there was scuttlebutt that they were going to make a remake, or they're going to make that he was feverishly working on a sequel, but it's never come to fruition. I haven't heard anything about a sequel or remake. I think if they just leave the original, it'll just be a time capsule. Guy plays a video game. He's really good at the video game, and then he's recruited by Star League to go fight a interstellar war to save humanity and the rest of the galaxy, the rest of the universe. And it's a really happy 1980s story. It definitely it's not exactly a clone of Star Wars because it has the Ready Player One elements in it, where a person it has Matrix like elements to it, so it's kind of an original. It's a cult classic for a reason. Is that it's really fun and it's really relatable, you know, and it's really a fantastic adventure, fantastic science fiction adventure film. I actually loved it. Who played? Yeah. No, they don't. All right. Yeah, I love the movie. It's fantastic, and absolutely. Yeah, I mean, nostalgically, I really love it. I mean, it's the 40th anniversary of the Last Starfighter. I guess we'll play the trailer if we can get away with that. We'll see if we can get away with it. Um, it's gonna go ba 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 ba. For a kind of a not a clone of Star Wars, but in terms of themes go, I want to know who does the music for it. Yeah, all cast and crew. That's what I want to see. Um, who does the music, baby? Who does the tunes? All right. Music by Craig Safon. Yeah, so Craig Safon does a masterful score because it's not a ripoff of John Williams. It's not a ripoff of really classical music. It sounds really original, very fresh. It's like Star Wars is da 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 da, and Star Wars is. I kind of have to get myself out of that Last Starfighter music mind frame, but it's da 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 na na da na 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 da 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 da. The great score from John Williams, and then the Last Starfighter is da 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 da. So it's like really, it's different. So it's not exactly a carbon copy. It has its own originality to it, even though you might try to lump it in with Battlestar Galactica or some kind of Star Wars clone. It's not exactly a clone. It's more original than you would think. It has more or less original starfighter designs. It has kind of original aliens, sort of. Is that the planet? Oh, that's the planet. It's called Rylon. Oh, you were calling it. Did you call it Rylos or Xylos or some shit like that? That's Rylos. Oh, okay, Rylan. All right, there we go. Rylon. It's called Rylos. Yeah. So we'll just add some Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, 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 ba. You still like that? Yeah. I probably watched the movie. I watched the movie a lot. Like a lot on home box office back in the day, HBO. And so we got one trailer on clocking in at 248 on the International Movie Database. So you get to hear that amazing score. We got to watch a commercial though, huh? Oh shit! Perfect for a rainy day, I think. All right, let's put it on a widescreen right here. Dun, 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 dun. They call his trailer park the Starlight Starbright.
Had a dream. You really are living here, aren't you? To be as far away from here as possible. Look at your chance. When it comes, you gotta grab it with both hands. It started with a game. You're gonna bust the record. But it wasn't just any game. You have been recruited by the Starfleet to defend the frontier against Zor and the Kodan Armada. And then one night, Centauri is the name. We have to talk about a matter of
The Back to the Future DeLorean.
I've seen him come and I've seen him go, but you're the best, my boy. Light years ahead of the competition. Then, Alex didn't find his dream. Look out! Oh dear.
Rylos.
His dream found him. Where are we? Welcome to Rylos, my boy. A world on the brink of destruction.
You are recruited by the Starfleet to
defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
Of all the life forms, on all the planets, in all the galaxies. Oh my god! One has been chosen. Alex Rubin
Alex.
is the last Starfighter. For every Earthling who's ever imagined traveling beyond the stars,
There is a Starfighter left.
I love you, Alex Rubin.
comes the unforgettable story of one who made it.
The 1980s kid is so cheesy. The 1980s boys, you see, they already put a copyright on this, even though it's not really. It's like playing the music kind of lightly, but then they put a copyright. It says, "Heads up, we detected video in your stream belonging to someone else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. If you plan to continue, please ensure that the content owner has added you temporarily blocked. Added you. Well, I'm not going to play anymore. So that was just for the context. The Last Starfighter. So I mean, do I really want this guy Boutel, who wrote the original? Do I want him to to make a crappy? I don't think everything from the 1980s should be remade. I'm not like, I never wanted Beetlejuice to. Not really. I wanted some things to stay part of the time, stay part of the childhood of certain demographics, certain, Generation X, millennials, baby boomers. Some stuff that's, I'm going to give, it says, how would I rate The Last Starfighter? I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 right here. I'm going to put a 10 out of 10 on it. Yeah. Why not, man? So, yeah. Yeah, it's weird if you get content copyright strike or something for a 40-year-old fucking movie. I'm like, wouldn't the content owner want somebody to be interested in his old movie? And wouldn't you want more revenue? It seemed like free advertising if somebody's talking about your product. I mean, it's like free advertising. I mean, essentially, that's what it is. It's not, I'm not claiming this is my work. I never did. I'm talking about someone else's works. So it's a weird copyright system in here. So, anyways, copyright claim, copyright strike. Um, you know. Anyway, so Jonathan R. Butel has been apparently with some producers working on a script for a called The Last Starfighters or something like that. And I don't know if he's planning to do it before he's on his deathbed or what's going on with that. Uh, have no idea. It's supposed to be like passing the torch. So it's supposed to be like, I guess Lance Guest and the senior starfighters are training the new starfighters to protect the galaxy against, I guess, Zur and the Kodan Armada. It's nice. Protect planet Earth and Rylos. The whole thing. I know it's kind of like the basis for Star Fox, basically. It sort of has the template in the Rebels, in the Rebel Alliance, the fighters, the X-wing fighters in Star Wars, and then it kind of went to the Last Starfighter, and then it went on, past there, and so went on to the next thing. Went on to Star Fox on Super Nintendo. So there's different evolutions of the Starfighters, and the well, I mean, if you take the inspiration for the X-wings and the stunt fighters and the TIE fighters in Star Wars, that would have to be like the World War II, the Spitfires, and it takes its inspiration from World War II aviators, and fighter pilots in the United States Air Force, and so yeah, I mean, if you want to take the inspiration farther back, you can go all the way. You can go all the way back there. So if you wanted to look at the history, the evolution of the ideas. And basically, or you can even go further back than World War II. You can go back to the Red Baron and dogfights of World War One when aviation, aerospace was first introduced into warfare way back over 100 years ago. So yeah, so you go all the way back to the beginning, or look at the milestones and the evolutions in the fighters and aviation and aerospace. So depends on what you like to do. But you can see the inspiration where it comes from, the origins. So that's The Last Starfighter, 40th anniversary, fantastic movie. I do have rose-colored glasses about this. I really do. Not about everything, but this one, yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's very heartwarming. Yeah, I don't need a cold AI robot from Google Alphabet, artificial intelligence, to tell me what it means to me when I know what it means to myself and my generation and us millennials and Gen Xers, and I guess some baby boomers enjoyed it back then too. So when they were young. But yeah, it's a fantastic film. I didn't feel like it was too cloney. I don't think it was too derivative of Star Wars. I thought it had just the right amount of influences, but it created its own statement. It created its own mythos and universe. It created its own memorable characters. It kind of created a universe of its own that was separate from Star Wars or Star Trek or anything like that, or Stargate or whatever, Battlestar Galactica or whatever you'd like. So it created its own unique fantasy science fiction creative stamp that would lead to, things like Ready Player One and other similar films where people go inside video games, or they're recruited by aliens because they're good at video games, or that sort of thing. And yeah, great stuff. I loved it. And one of the first movies to use pretty advanced, for the time, computer generated images, CGI. And so yeah, memorable film, great film, 40th anniversary. I was gonna, pour some cold ones, and then I decided, you know what? It's a really rainy day today, and I said, today is gonna be the day. I said, drunk would be like kind of fun. It'd be kind of sloppy. It'd be kind of all over the place. But I decided on the coffee and sobriety thing today. because to make a really, because I wanted to respect the material and respect the nostalgia, respect the legend of the cult classic of the Last Starfighter, instead of just being, spilling beer, going, I remember when I was a kid, and all that stuff. But yeah, lots of great memories. Surprisingly, there was a lot of heavy merchandising in the 1980s and 1990s. I'm sure there was a little light merchandising for the Last Starfighter, but I'm surprised there wasn't more action figures and stuff, or at least if they would have had a pretty good toy line, I probably would have got some Starfighters and some Alex Rogan action figures and all that stuff. I would have got some Kodak. I would have got Zur and stuff at space battles against the Earth, the Star League versus the Kodan Armada. I would have really got into it if I was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and had my little fantasy adventure world, exploration world out there. And so, well, God bless and best of success. That's the Last Starfighter. Happy 40th anniversary. Too late, because the hurricane and all that stuff. And but better late than never. Let's do this. Yeah, gotta put it on television here instead of off the computer. Peace. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, there won't be too many copyright claims and strikes. So I guess they'll just block that part or something. I don't know. But anyways, no. But they can't block this though. Ba da 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 da. Because I'm just mimicking it, so they can't say, "Oh, that's copyright infringement." Oh, and is this one? Dun da 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 da. Is that copyright strike too? Are they gonna block that in Russia? I one of my videos was blocked just in Russia, and I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, why is it just blocked just in Russia? That's strange copyright shenanigans with social media and the technological tyrant. Strange. You can't even talk about a 50-year-old movie because of ownership and copyright strikes, and it's pretty ridiculous. But anyways, it is what it is. It's like, oh, you can't watch your video in Yugoslavia. Like, why? Ridiculous shit. Oh well. I don't really want the Last Starfighter. I don't really want that. I don't want a sequel to it. I don't want a remake to it. I don't want even the Last Starfighters, even if it's the original writer. Just don't give a shit. But if some things stay back in the 1980s in nostalgia, cult classic land, I'm perfectly fine with that. So I'm perfectly at peace if there's never a sequel to The Last Starfighter. If it just stays a 1980s gem and is untouched by the hands of people living in the 2020s, it'll be fine with me if it just remains something that's near and dear to either new movie cinemaphiles, new aficionados of Hollywood and cinema and film and movies, and if it never gets remade into some woke piece of garbage or some kind of, where they swap out Alex Rogan for like a lesbian space wizard or some shit like that. If that never ever happens, if it just stays the way it is, the way it was made and then I'll be happy. And there's not like some embarrassing movie where it's the old people and then they have the new generation of starfighters and that sort of shit. I'd rather it just be a cult classic that people get to enjoy, whether they're young or they're teens. If they're young, if they're middle aged, if they're old age, just something that everybody can enjoy as a cult science fiction adventure romp from a feel good movie from the 1980s, a fantastic science fiction fantasy film from that era. And it'll be like a perfectly preserved time capsule with no meddling of even the original writer or director, if he's still alive. It'll just be perfectly preserved time capsule, and it'll be beautiful because it'll be perfect. And so it's perfectly preserved. Like, you don't make Labyrinth 2 Well, David Bowie's dead. You could have an older Jennifer Connelly, but why? You know, it's kind of like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Why? Why would you remake Michael Keaton old Batman? You know, Batman 1989 in the 2020s. It's like, okay, again, why? People, okay, if you make that money, but is it going to be good? Is it going to add anything to the story or add anything to the characters? Or no, it's just a nostalgia cash grab. So they're hoping baby boomers and Generation X and millennials are going to get nostalgic about about the old entertainment properties and the old movies, and somehow fork up the cash and maybe recruit in new people that haven't heard of the old IP intellectual property. And so that's the idea. It's just a nostalgic rose colored glasses cash grab. But I'll say, in terms of rose colored glasses, this is one of my favorites. The Last Starfighter. Always have a place in my heart, my mind, and my soul. And yeah. All right. God bless. Best of success. That's it. The 40th anniversary, The Last Starfighter. No beer. Just, well, need to refill that coffee, though. That's running low on D's nuts, on Dunkin' Donuts. But thanks for watching and have a great day. Thursday. Peace.